What's up, YouTube? This is Mathos97 and welcome to episode 38 of my WWE 2K15 Universe Mode, and this is the final episode of Monday Night Raw before the WrestleMania Pay-Per-View. Finally, we're about to make it to WrestleMania in this Universe Mode. But as you can see, kicking off the show, actually I'll get back to that in a little bit, because The Shield, Seth Rollins and Dean Ambrose defeated Booker T and Goldust. And of course, The Shield, they're getting prepared for their WrestleMania tag team match against the Wyatt family. R-Truth, with The Miz in his corner, defeats Zack Ryder. So, Awesome Truth trying to build a bit of momentum so they can be, in better standing and better shape coming out of WrestleMania. CM Punk, the #1 contender for the WWE Championship, will take on Rob Van Dam in singles competition. Kane, the Big Red Monster, defeats the Real American Jack Swagger in a one-on-one matchup. And in tonight's main event, we see 4 superstars, 4 of Raw's best, competing, and they're preparing for WrestleMania, as it is Daniel Bryan versus Alberto Del Rio, Roman Reigns, and The Rock in a fatal 4-way contest. That is going to be huge. But let's go ahead and get into the first matchup for this episode, as this one will determine the official #1 contender for Alberto Del Rio's United States Championship at WrestleMania. And these two men they've been on the biggest winning streak. They've been looking the most impressive in recent memory in the United States Championship division. Curtis Axel, he's almost been flying under the radar a little bit. I would think that most people wouldn't have considered Curtis Axel a threat for the US title, considering, well, his tag team partner, Alberto Del Rio, is the United States champion. So people may not expect, a matchup between Axel and Del Rio to take place for the title. But Curtis Axel, he's here to succeed. He believes he's better than perfect. And, with that logic, it's about time that he wins some singles gold here in Universe Mode. Of course, way back when he was over on SmackDown, Curtis Axel came close to winning the Intercontinental title. Though he just couldn't quite get that victory when it mattered the most. But now he's managed to build himself back up here on Monday Night Raw. After losing to Ryback, he was sent off SmackDown, brought over here to Raw, and since then, Curtis Axel, he's managed to turn his career around. He's been looking impressive, and it was only a matter of time before Axel got his opportunity at the United States Championship. And he's got that chance here tonight against Cesaro, the man who faced Alberto Del Rio at the Elimination Chamber with the United States Championship on the line. Of course, in that contest, the match was won by Alberto Del Rio, but Cesaro was looking pretty good in that matchup. And look at this, a pure just deadlift, gut-wrench suplex right there by Cesaro. Just pure power, pure strength showcased there by Cesaro. And at the moment, Curtis Axel, nice punch to the face of Cesaro. As Axel, he's had opportunities in the past on SmackDown, but really ever since he came to Raw, hasn't quite managed to challenge for a singles title just yet. He did have matches against Daniel Bryan in the past, and Axel, he did a good job there to kind of prove himself, prove that he can hang with some of the best here on Raw. So Axel, it really was only a matter of time before he got this kind of opportunity. And I'm sure he will hold nothing back, even if he goes up against Alberto Del Rio, his current tag team partner. Because in the end, guys like Curtis Axel and Del Rio, I feel like they enter this business, they're in it for themselves, they're not here to make friends. And that's really the mentality that most superstars would have, is that you're not in this business to make friends. You're in this business to win championships, to be the best, to make money, whatever the case may be. You're in this business to achieve success. You may make friends along the way, but that's not why you enter this business, and that's kind of where Curtis Axel lies. Cesaro, on the other hand, he has gone up against Curtis Axel and Del Rio before. Of course, we've seen tag team matches between Viva Perfecto, the team of Del Rio and Curtis Axel, if you're new around here, and the team of Swiss Thunder, Cesaro and RVD. They have faced off a few times in the past, and Cesaro, he's had his clashes with Axel before in those tag team matches, but they've never competed one-on-one in a singles matchup here tonight. So it'll be interesting to see how these two can kind of feel each other out. As look at Cesaro right now. Michinoku driver right there. He's going to hook the leg on Curtis Axel. That's going to be a 1 count, but Axel quickly manages to kick out of that one. Of course, Cesaro, without a doubt, the most impressive contender in the U.S. title picture. Look at this. Oh, we saw this a few weeks ago. The Northern Lights suplex into a brain buster right there by Cesaro. That may put Curtis Axel out for good. Cesaro, the cover. 1, 2, 3. No, Curtis Axel at the last second manages to kick out. He manages to get the shoulder up and out. Oh, look at this punch to the face of Cesaro. Here comes Axel. But Cesaro catapults Curtis Axel up into the air with the uppercut. That's it. He just took Axel's head off. And that is it, folks. Cesaro, he emphatically here tonight defeats Curtis Axel. What a victory that is for Cesaro, as he had been impressive ever since losing to Del Rio at the Elimination Chamber. And, you know, it was going to be really difficult to take the #1 contender's sort of spot that Cesaro had built for himself. I mean, Cesaro has been very impressive, more impressive even than Curtis Axel has been. So Curtis Axel, he was really going to have to give it everything he had here tonight against Cesaro. But in the end, Cesaro, he was just the better man. He was just too good for Curtis Axel on this night. And Cesaro, his quest for the United States Championship continues. He's got one more opportunity at Alberto Del Rio. It's all or nothing for Cesaro this Sunday at WrestleMania. So that's yet another matchup set up for this WrestleMania pay-per-view. And at the moment, if we take a look at the WrestleMania card, we're looking at the Shield and the Wyatt family in a 6-man tag team matchup. That is going to be huge. We now have Del Rio versus Cesaro for the United States Championship. Brie Bella will defend the Divas Championship against Summer Rae after Summer Rae won a triple threat matchup, and basically she had a rematch clause, but she was looking a bit iffy. There were other Divas who had stepped up, and it looked like Summer Rae could have almost lost that spot, but she did manage to win a triple threat last week on Raw and reinstate herself as the #1 contender for the title. We've, of course, also got the Intercontinental Championship Fatal 4-Way match between Ryback, the big guy, the current champion, taking on Cody Rhodes, the Real Deal, Titus O'Neil, and Mr. No Days Off, Darren Young, in a Fatal 4-Way matchup. Sting will make his WWE in-ring debut as he takes on The Undertaker. That is going to be huge. That's a fantasy matchup that was just waiting to be booked. And really, this is WWE 2K15, Sting's first ever appearance in a WWE game. I mean, how could I not go with that matchup? I mean, come on, you all had to have seen that coming. But then we've also got Daniel Bryan, the rematch against the Beast Incarnate, Brock Lesnar. And that's going to be a really good matchup. The rematch from the Royal Rumble, Bryan looking for his redemption against Lesnar. So we'll see if Daniel Bryan can get his revenge, his redemption against Brock Lesnar at WrestleMania this Sunday. And he's got a good opportunity in the main event tonight to really get himself on a winning note, try to build himself some momentum heading into WrestleMania after Lesnar attacked Bryan last week on Raw. Then, of course, we've got the World Heavyweight Championship threat match between Christian, the champion, and the challengers Edge and Mark Henry. Mark Henry, of course, the former World Heavyweight Champion. After holding that title for, from No Way Out all the way to the Elimination Chamber, Mark Henry is definitely impressive. So that's going to be an epic triple threat matchup. And then, of course, the main event, the winner of the Royal Rumble, CM Punk, challenging the WWE Champion, The Rock. The Rock, of course, just coming off the Elimination Chamber where he won the title. And now he's going to the wily challenger, CM Punk. But Punk has been looking a bit iffy in his matches as of late. He did get a victory over John Cena, which cemented himself as the definitive #1 contender. But other than that, Punk on a rocky road. He lost to Dolph Ziggler the night after he lost to Ziggler. He lost to Christian on main event a few episodes ago. And we'll see if he can bounce back here tonight against RVD. But at the moment, CM Punk, he's not looking too good. He's not in very good shape. He's just been losing match after match, other than that big matchup against John Cena. And that very well may be the only win CM Punk needs. I mean, that was a huge victory in his own right. I mean, CM Punk had never been able to defeat John Cena in a matchup here in Universe Mode, but he finally was able to get that out of his head. He was finally able to defeat Cena, and now look at this cover by Punk, take out by Van Dam. So CM Punk, that victory may be the only win he needs. I mean, he's got his confidence, and that could be enough. And as we can see, RVD at the moment down right here. Van Dam, he competed in a match against Rey Mysterio a few weeks ago on main event. Van Dam wound up losing that contest. So Van Dam, he's been looking a bit iffy as well. Hasn't quite found a spot here in Universe Mode for himself. I mean, he has kind of been in the United States Championship picture, although he hasn't hit on just yet. And he's also been teaming up with Cesaro, the team of Swiss Thunder, although they haven't really made a push for the tag team titles either. So Van Dam, he's just kind of floating in low at the moment, Universe Mode. But a victory over the Royal Rumble winner, this close to WrestleMania. Van Dam, I mean, not only could he put some momentum in his corner, but also kind of the role of spoiler Punk here, try to shut down Punk's momentum leading into the pay-per-view. And now look at Van Dam, moonsault off the second rope here to CM Punk. And Van Dam, he's looking good right now. He's looking impressive. CM Punk over into the corner right there. Now Van Dam, what's he looking to do here? He's got CM Punk. Nice slam there. Oh, and we know what this sets up. This is vintage RVD right here. The split leg moonsault off the top. Cover on Punk. 2, 3, and that is it. Rob Van Dam able to put away CM Punk. Didn't even need the 5-star. And that could just be CM Punk trying to conserve his energy, try to conserve himself before WrestleMania. I mean, it definitely took a lot out of him in the matches he competed in against John Cena and Christian 2 weeks ago. So perhaps CM Punk still feeling a bit of the effects from those matchups, and maybe just trying to, you know, not risk himself too much. I mean, you don't want to get injured heading into WrestleMania, so perhaps CM Punk, you know, didn't quite give it his all here tonight. But regardless, whether that's the case or not, the main point stands that Van Dam scores the victory over CM Punk, and at the moment, Punk, he really doesn't have any momentum heading into WrestleMania. I mean, he's got that victory against Cena, which, okay, to be fair, that does amount to some, because that was a monumental victory in the career of Punk, but other than that, he's kind of fallen flat since the Royal Rumble. So CM Punk, I say he goes into that match the underdog, as he hasn't built the momentum that he needed heading into the pay-per-view, so perhaps that could cost him. That could definitely turn the tides in The Rock's favor. But we'll have to see how The Rock fares in this Fatal 4-Way here tonight. And now we can see Daniel Bryan, he's made his entrance to the ring. And here comes the man who will be teaming up with Dean Ambrose and Seth Rollins at WrestleMania to take on the Wyatt family. Roman Reigns, the powerhouse of one of the most destructive factions, not just in the history of Universe Mode, but in the history of the WWE entirely. The Shield, they have blazed themselves a path of destruction, leaving broken bodies and broken souls in their wake. I mean, just look at the list of names that the Shield have conquered over the past in Universe Mode. I mean, we take a look. The Undertaker, Daniel Bryan, Kane, The Rock, Hulk Hogan, Stone Cold Steve Austin, Kevin Nash, Scott Hall, Triple H. I mean, the list goes on and on. The Shield, they have just destroyed many a superstar, many a legend in this business. And at the moment, they have been struggling a little bit. The Wyatt family really has done a great job at kind of throwing them off their game a little bit. But I would say the Shield, they're just as dominant as ever. They're still dangerous. Although their mentality, I mean, their mindset could be in a bit of disarray thanks to Bray Wyatt's mind games. So perhaps in the Shield, they could be they could be at a point in their careers where maybe if Bray Wyatt, if he can get inside their heads enough, the Shield could begin to doubt themselves as a faction, perhaps start to see some dissension between the Shield. So, I mean, this is probably a pretty risky time for the Shield, heading into WrestleMania against the Wyatt family. Possibly one of the most important matches in their career to this point, and that's saying a lot. But then, of course, we've got this man, the WWE Champion, the Brahma Bull, the People's Champion, The Rock, heading into his match with CM Punk. And I would say, if The Rock gets a win here, clearly he is the favorite going into WrestleMania. I mean, with the kind of streak CM Punk has been on as of late, The Rock really, I mean, with a win here, basically proves that he's got the upper hand. He's the better man going into WrestleMania. Although, you know, momentum isn't everything in a match. I mean, it does definitely give you a good, you know, it might give you some confidence heading into the matchup, put you in a, you know, if you feel like you're superior and you think you can really take it to your opponent, then, you know, that kind of mindset very well could be, you know, a deciding factor in the matchup. I mean, that kind of confidence could definitely play to your benefit, but it could also go to your head. It could definitely cost you a match as well. So, we're going to have to see how that factors in. It could very well not factor in at all, or it could be the deciding factor in the match at WrestleMania. But of course, in terms of pure in-ring ability, CM Punk, he's got The Rock outclassed. At this point in The Rock's career, this isn't The Rock of the 90s, of the early 2000s. This is The Rock of 2015 here in Universe Mode. So, I mean, The Rock, he's definitely not the man he once was, but still, you can't ever count him out of a fight because he's The Rock, one of the biggest superstars of the Attitude Era and one of the biggest superstars in the history of wrestling. So, I mean, CM Punk, he's definitely got a full plate heading into WrestleMania. And then we've got Del Rio now, who knows he'll be facing Cesaro in a rematch at WrestleMania. Del Rio, he knows that he can beat Cesaro. He's done it once before, but he can't afford to get overconfident. He can't get cocky, because that is, you know, that could definitely give Cesaro the advantage, because if Del Rio underestimates Cesaro, then he could, you know, get too overconfident, and by underestimating Cesaro, Cesaro could just catch him off guard and put him out. And now look at this, Del Rio going for the cover off the Enziguri 2 count, but Bryan kicks out just before a count of 3. And now Roman Reigns, well, he went for a Superman punch, but now The Rock blocks it. First he dodged it, then he blocked it. And now The Rock just stomping a mud hole in Roman Reigns. Okay, well, maybe not a mud hole, but just stomping away at Roman Reigns there. And Del Rio's got Bryan on the outside. Del Rio's thinking, I don't know what he's thinking here, but it's not looking good for Daniel Bryan. Oh no, you gotta be kidding me. Del Rio's not gonna do this. He's measuring Daniel Bryan. Boot to the... Oh my god. Alberto Del Rio just kicked Daniel Bryan's head in up against that ring post. Bryan could have a concussion. Bryan might not even make it to WrestleMania after that move. But Bryan's somehow back to his feet. I don't understand it, but somehow Daniel Bryan has made it back to his feet here. And now a huge Samoan drop by Roman Reigns. I mean, first the boot into the ring post from Del Rio, and now a Samoan drop by Roman Reigns. And now Reigns just applying that submission hold, just really trying to wear down Daniel Bryan. But at this point, I don't know how much Daniel Bryan could have left. I mean, he's just been hit with a sky-high Samoan drop, and now a Superman... No! Reigns was going for the Superman punch, but Bryan was able to block it, able to counter. And now he rolls through the small package inside cradle. Potato, whatever you want to call it. You say potato, I say tomato, right? Oh, look at this. Reigns was going for another Superman punch, but Bryan was able to just barely back out of the way. And now Bryan just kicking away at the chest of Roman Reigns. And now look at this. Measuring Reigns, kick to the head. May have just kicked Reigns' skull in. Cover by Bryan. 1 count, but it's broken up by The Rock fairly quickly there. And now look at Reigns. Oh, Reigns counters the DDT attempt by Bryan. And now The Rock, spine buster to Roman Reigns as Del Rio delivers a gut buster to Bryan. And that's what happens at these points. Oh, wait, cover by The Rock. He could have Reigns, but Reigns kicks out. And that's what happens in these kind of matchups. The further it goes, wait, the Rock thinking rock bottom. Reigns able to counter, and as I can't even talk right now, Bryan's now got the yes lock applied here. But the Rock and Reigns, they're both there, able to break it up, save Del Rio from perhaps being pinned, or not even pinned, preventing the submission. So I'm stumbling over my words here. But that's what happens in these Fatal 4-Way matches. They get very difficult to call as there's just action all over the place, left, right, and center. Look at Bryan now. Bryan jumps off the second rope here. And now ducks a clothesline. Here's Daniel Bryan. Delivers the elbow, the flying elbow to the face of Del Rio. As Bryan, he's getting his second win here. And now he's going to the top rope. Measuring Del Rio, we know what's coming next. Diving headbutt off the top rope by Bryan. And Daniel Bryan, he has got Del Rio in trouble here. Reigns and The Rock are on the outside. They don't know what's going on. Bryan delivers the knee to the skull of the United States champion. Cover. 2 count. Daniel Bryan has won the Fatal 4-Way. And that was a much-needed victory for Daniel Bryan here tonight. Heading into WrestleMania, the go-home episode of Raw. Bryan, I mean, especially after the attack last week where Brock Lesnar just absolutely destroyed him, costing him a match against The Undertaker. Bryan really needed this bounce-back victory here tonight. I mean, all the other 3 men in this matchup, they've really been looking impressive. I mean, we got The Rock winning in the Elimination Chamber. Del Rio, of course, retaining against Cesaro in Elimination Chamber. Roman Reigns, I mean, the Shield, they've just been carving out a path of destruction, you know, almost reignited this past month. And then, of course, we got Bryan, who's been, you know, that attack definitely derailed him. But tonight, Daniel Bryan gets a huge victory, a victory that was much needed. And Daniel Bryan, he now has momentum in his corner, heading into his rematch with Brock Lesnar. Can Daniel Bryan redeem himself? Can he redeem his career at WrestleMania against Brock Lesnar? Well, we're gonna have to find out. That's it for this episode of Universe Mode. Make sure to stay tuned for Main Event and SmackDown, and then, of course, the WrestleMania Pay-Per-View. Keep on YouTubing.